great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.
Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 862 of the Immigration Answer Show. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd. The 4th of July is right around the corner. Are you guys ready? I saw a comment. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is from Traylene. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Independence Day to those who celebrated. It seems different this year as the principles of this country were once built on seem to have been forgotten. I think that's absolutely true. Thank you, Traylene. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney. I'll be here for the next hour trying to answer your immigration law-related questions. I am standing in Longmont, Colorado. I'm standing in the one little corner of shade with a, what would you call this, a little half wall that I set up the laptop and phone on. And like I said, we'll try to answer questions for about an hour, and then Nor has softball starting at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. So I'm on Mountain Time this week. We'll do this show today, and we'll do a show tomorrow at 12:30 Central tomorrow. That'll be our last show of the week. And then next week, we start our regularly scheduled shows. So we're going to do a show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at a fixed time, and they're all going to be an hour and a half long. And all the shows will be an hour and a half long. We're bringing some changes to the show. I think a lot of them are exciting, but I do want to say thanks to all of you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and get started with Ravi. Hello, Ravi.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. So I basically have a question. I'm not sure if I need immigration help. So this is my situation. I had a green card since I was born, but I lived outside the US most of my childhood. So when I turned 18, I didn't know much about the green card and stuff. So I applied for a tourist visa, which they gave me. I declared the green card to the immigration officer, and she didn't like make me sign an abandonment or anything like that. She just told me I can mail it in. She gave me address and those stuff.
This is when after you got the visa and you came to the United States, this is when that happened?
Yeah, so I'm just telling you how I renewed my green card. I came to the US with the tourist visa she gave me, and I spoke to an immigration lawyer at that time, and he did the Freedom of Information Act, right? And what he saw on my green card was basically the no travel records, just where it was initially filed, right? So I went ahead, filed an I-90, and I got my green card in like 2 weeks. Also, I got like the Welcome to the United States um, kit, like where they give you the pamphlets, Welcome to the United States. So I've been living here, paying taxes, working a W-2 job for the last like 3 years. So my question to you is, would I face any difficulties if I was to travel outside the US or if I was to apply for citizenship?
Yes, both of those things are possible. Do you have the results of your FOIA?
Yes.
And you've been waiting to apply for citizenship because of this issue?
No, I didn't apply as yet, but I'm not sure if it's a right move to apply.
That's
Or
what I'm
if,
saying. That's what I'm saying. You're scared to apply because of this
yes.
issue. Okay.
Yeah, so I even like I signed up for the military and they told me I can get like citizenship after graduation. In the job field I work in, they guarantee citizenship upon graduation, but I'm not sure how that even works. If I still have any issues.
So I want to get back to how did you originally get your green card? Do you know?
Yeah, so I don't know the full details, but my green card category is F12. So my mom was living here at the time, and she went back to our home country and had me. I'm not sure like the exact filing that took place. I think she didn't even file for me. I'm not sure how I got it, but all I know I had it like the year I was born.
Is your mom still alive?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that you talked to an officer and she gave you a form to fill out or told you where did that interaction happen? Was that when you came through customs or what happened?
No, that's in the tourist visa interview. So initially, I wasn't planning to live in the United States, so I went to apply for a tourist visa. In the visa application, I informed them I had a green card. When I spoke to the officer, she didn't ask me anything about a green card. I still mentioned it to her, but that wasn't her concern. She still granted me the tourist visa anyway. So when I came to the United States, I have a U.S. citizen child, and then I decided I want to live here after all. So I
Just to be
went,
clear, you entered on the visit visa, not on your green card.
yes, visitor visa, yes.
Okay. And so then when you entered on your visit visa, had your green card expired?
Yes,
Okay. All right. So then did you say then after you came here, you applied for a renew your green card or what?
yes, I-90,
How long after you arrived on that trip did you do that?
like a month.
Okay. And you said it got approved in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And have you renewed it since then?
No, it has like years on it still.
Okay. And when was that entry that you entered?
What year?
Yeah.
That was in January 2023, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So I would do another, if I were your lawyer, I would do another FOIA and then I would apply for citizenship most likely. I think that you might have to do some explaining, but if they gave you another green card, I mean, we want to talk to your mom, figure out how you got your green card. We want to make sure that it's safe for you to apply for citizenship.
So I did another for freedom of information. And what I saw is I saw the information how I got the green card, right? So basically, my grandmother, who is a U.S. citizen, was filing for my mother at the time.
Yeah.
So in that application, I was born at the same time while the filing was taking place, and I think that's how I got it. That's all I saw in the for the Freedom of Information Act. I didn't see anything else.
When your grandmother applied for your mother, was your mother living inside the United States or outside the United States?
Inside the United States.
And were you list? She was inside the United States. Okay.
Yes.
And do you know if she was in status or out of status?
In status.
What kind of status was she in?
I believe she came on a tourist visa also.
Messy. So this is what I would do. I would do a FOIA on mom's file, a FOIA on your file, and then I would research whether or not you abandoned your green card, the big problem is they might say they renewed your green card after arrival either by mistake or based on false information. Not saying you did anything wrong, but they might just claim that you gave them false information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So when I went to renew my green card had a baby picture. It was never renewed for like over 20 years.
Right.
So they put me in a room with a guy, I believe he was an immigration officer. He had like a badge hanging from his neck, all these things. And he asked me a few questions and I answered him. He asked me like, what did I study, all these things.
So you're saying you had an interview on your I-90?
I'm not, it's questioning. I'm not sure if it's an interview, but like they were skeptical about me renewing this old green card.
Sure.
Yeah. So they put me in a room with this guy. I think he was the guy in charge. He had like a badge, all these things.
Yeah.
And he asked me a few questions and he said he's gonna do me a favor by stamping this stamp on the some document. And then he said, like, go take my fingerprints and stuff, and I got it. That same day, when I checked the case status, it was approved.
And then you got your green card.
Yeah.
Interesting case. I don't know. I can't tell you right now off the top of my head. I think it's going to be okay, but I'd want to look everything over first.
Okay. So should I wait? Like, so I have, so far I have 2 years tax filings. I should have at least 5 years tax filing before I apply, right?
No, you don't have to have any to apply for citizenship. You don't have to have any tax returns to file for citizenship.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ravi.
Okay. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. That was Ravi. Let's go to Sunshine Kiss. Hello.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Sunshine.
Hello, Mr. Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Oh my God, thank you so much for picking my call. I'm so
Sure.
excited and nervous now.
No worries.
So, my case is kind of a little messy. I think so. I came to United States 29 years ago on visitor's visa.
Okay.
Um, I got divorced in my country when I was in America. Then I got married to another person who was not citizen, but I had a child who was born in America. I mean, he's a citizen now, and he applied a petition for adjustment of status in November 8th, 2024.
Your spouse or you?
No, my son.
Okay, let's back up. Okay, what country are you
I'm
from?
from Lithuania.
You entered the United States on what kind of a visa?
Visitor's visa 1996.
And when you entered the United States on a visitor visa in 1996, you were married to someone back home.
Correct.
And then after arriving in the United States, you got a divorce from that person.
Correct.
And then you were here out of status for a while, and you married someone who we'll just call the person that you married Jay. Okay.
Okay.
So you married Jay, and at the time, what was Jay's immigration status when on the day you got married?
He is the same as me on visitor's visa.
Okay, but he'd also had a child who turned 21.
No, we both got married and got a child.
Oh, you got married and had a child together.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, and the child was born in the United States?
Correct.
So the child turned 21, and the child is a U.S. citizen and then turned 21 and then applied for who, both of you?
No, my ex, he passed away in 2015.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
So your son, a U.S. citizen, turns 21. Mom's been here for a really long time out of status, and then
Yep.
mom applies for adjustment of status based on being an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, next.
It was November 8th, 2024. So November 21st, I received RFE because the form 864 was not complete.
Okay.
So my attorney messed up, did so many mistakes. So then I hired another attorney
Okay.
who submitted RFE and
Yeah.
submitted G28 forms.
Sure.
So I received EAD and Social Security cards on March 10, but still were sent to my old attorney's office.
Okay.
So April 3rd, it shows on my website that case been actively reviewed.
Okay.
So it's been basically 90 days, nothing else. So I'm just wondering, and I checked the website, my new attorney, it doesn't show like my new attorney represents me.
Uh-huh.
So
So
is it normal?
were you able to get the work card from your old attorney's office?
Yes, he
Okay.
sent me to my house.
Okay,
Correct.
good. Okay. So are you signed up for electronic alerts for the case?
I don't know how to.
Okay, so you need to open up a My USCIS account, and you should be able to register your case so that you can follow it. Okay.
Oh, Mr. Jim, yes, I am. I know, I am. But that's what I saw on my website.
Good. Okay.
On my case, that my case has been actively reviewed since April 3rd.
Yeah.
And step 3 has been completed.
Yeah.
So what does that?
So I would call USCIS every couple days until you get someone to say, yeah, we switched out attorney A for attorney B. I wouldn't bother your attorney with that. You can do that. Just call them and say, hey, we turned in a G28 on such and such a day with the RFE response. You guys received the RFE response, and I just need you to make sure that you notify my current lawyer of things, not my old lawyer of things, because you sent my work card to my old attorney. Just keep bothering them, get them to swap it out. But as far as actively being reviewed and all that stuff, I don't believe anything they put in that thing. And your case is going to take a while because you've been here out of status for almost 30 years. So it's not going to go as fast as other cases.
So that's a big sin?
No. I mean, it's approvable. It's but they're looking for fraud behind every corner, and they're going to slow down some cases. And you've been here out of status for 30 years. They might try to figure out if you ever made a false claim to citizenship, or I don't know. Did you tell them that you worked without authorization? Because they'll want to know about that. So
I
think,
did. I
good,
marked yes. I
good,
marked that I violated my immigration status. I
good,
worked without authorization.
good.
And that another question. I actually uploaded through the website, the unsolicited evidence portal, G28 forms,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't know if they will accept those or not.
Just keep calling them and bugging them until they switch it out.
It's impossible. It's impossible by phone. And now automated systems, it's updated that they every time you ask a question, they keep saying, I cannot hear you clear. I cannot hear you clear.
Okay,
It's so
so
frustrating.
yeah. Luckily, as the owner of a law firm, I don't ever have to call that phone number. But people in the comments will have tips on that. So go ahead and look in the comments and see. But
Thank you.
I think you just have to keep calling until you get somebody.
Okay. And is it okay to ask one more question?
Of course.
So since I fired my first attorney, is it possible through ACDC get the money back? No, ARCD or ARDC?
You mean through the bar?
Yes.
So how much money did you pay the lawyer?
I paid him upfront 4,500, including service and interview.
Yeah, I would. And did you notify him that you were firing him? Like he's known?
Yes, he knows. My new attorney sent the documentation form.
Yeah, but did you send a formal notice saying I'm firing you as my attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I wouldn't start with the ARDC first. I would start with the lawyer because you want to keep turning up the temperature. So the first thing is I would write to him and say, hey, I want an itemized bill of the time spent on my case. Number two, as you know, you messed up my RFE and it cost me delay and I had to hire a new attorney and pay them money. So I would like an itemized bill and a refund of any amounts that remain in my trust account, and then see what he says. And then you can start saying, then you give him a deadline. Hey, listen, I wrote you a letter on January 1st and now it's January 12th and I haven't heard back. So if I don't hear back from you by January 20th, then I'm unfortunately going to have to reach out to the ARDC to try to get them to help. And then probably send them one more letter right before the 20th and say, hey, I still haven't heard back from you. You still didn't pay me my money, you son of a bitch. I want my money. And if you don't, I'm notifying the bar tomorrow. But you got to document all that. You got to document all that shit. You can't just wait for it to happen. You know what I mean? Or call. You got to document it. And like I said, keep turning up the temperature.
Okay. And the last, I remember another one question. So if my case was transferred to Chicago, is it bad sign or good sign?
Do you live in Chicago?
Yeah, in Chicago suburbs.
Most likely it means that you're going to have an interview.
Oh, okay. So
All right.
even step 3 is complete, marked
I don't
complete.
know what step 3 means. I don't believe any of that bullshit online. I spend zero time giving any weight to anything they say on the online portal because they just make shit up and it doesn't mean anything.
Understood. Thank you so much, Mr. Jim.
Awesome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
That was Sunshine Kiss all the way from Lithuania. How about that? Been here a long time, 30 years without status. Long time. Let's see here. Shalish says, hacking client, love the service. We have an interview coming up in July and have what we believe is a strong case. When is it safe to travel after receiving a green card? Knock on wood. Shalish, I hate to tell you, I'm telling everybody not to travel until you become a citizen. So that's my general rule right now. If you and your spouse want to travel together, that would probably be okay. But things are crazy at the border now, and the border includes CBP. So, Frank, if you turn off your camera, I'll pull you up next. So, Shailesh, I've been telling everybody just to stay home unless you absolutely have to travel. All right, we're going to go to Frank, then Lacey, then R. Orteza. Frank.
Can you hear me?
Go for it.
Yes. Is my mic on?
Yeah, I hear you. You're good.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I really appreciate it, Jim. Thanks for pulling me up. I'm going to try and make this quick. I got my note cards here. So basically a little bit of context or history. So I'm a U.S. citizen. Currently, I'm in Abu Dhabi with my wife. She's a Turkmenistan passport holder, and we currently have a 3-year-old son who's also a U.S. citizen. I need to return to the U.S. to start work with my new employer, but also I'm here because I need to help my wife pack, sell the furniture, and I'm also helping her with taking care of our son because she has a physical handicap. Basically, the case history or timeline, as of November 2023. That was my wife's first interview at the Abu Dhabi embassy. It was refused under 221G, insufficient proof of domicile. So basically, what I did was I post refusal submission. I made sure I filed that form that they gave me, which was the DS 5535, provided details of evidence, she had to renew her passport. So we physically mailed that, submitted that this year. I sent my driver's license that had my permanent domicile address, voters registration, bank statements, utility, phone bills, even mailed the original documents, not copies, to the embassy as of June 17th, which was just recently. We also filed a writ of mandamus May 13th. And I think I think we're waiting on a response sometime in 2 weeks or so, July 13th or 14th, to basically compel the Abu Dhabi embassy to respond. Like you said, we don't really pay attention to the SIAC status because it's just confusing. So critical also, my family, one of my aunt, she just suffered a life-threatening stroke. We also put that inside the mandamus. That was March of this year. So there's just a lot of things, and also currently I was able to get the senator to also contact the embassy as well. I'm just trying to see, like, what are the chances? Is there anything else that I can do? I mean, in this situation. So I'm just trying to get your opinion on that. And I'm hoping, praying that everything works out with the writ of mandamus this time.
So before we get to the delay in mandamus, I want to ask a couple questions about the underlying case, okay?
Yes.
How long has the I-130 been on? When did you file the I-130 with USCIS?
That was in I want to say 2021 or 2022. All that stuff was done sometime, like, I think July, I believe.
Since the time that you filed the I-130, how much time have you, Frank, spent in the United States?
I would go to visit, like, relatives for holidays, but I was working here. And then in 2023, I got a job offer. So I had put in my resignation, but we were waiting to see if that would work. But they said we needed more proof. So as of 2024, I actually got the job offer. I accepted everything. Made sure that I had proof of everything, so right now, actually, the employer, I'm in contact with them. They put everything on hold. They're waiting for this particular situation. Of course, there's a regional conflict as well, so we had some problems with the flights.
Frank,
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you a lesson now for free. It doesn't really have to do much with what you called me about, but this is for you and everybody else watching, okay?
Yeah.
So when I prep a witness for an interview, one thing I always say is answer the question that is asked, right?
Gotcha.
So one of the things I say to people is, if I ask you, do you have a watch? Don't tell me what time it is. Don't tell me what time it is. Say yes or no. So my question to you was, since the time that you filed the I-130, how much time have you spent in the United States? And it's okay to be quiet and think for a minute and answer the question.
Yeah, definitely. I would say how much time? Definitely not like months or anything like that. I went back for December and only for holidays. So in terms of time, definitely not much time. I just made sure that everything was prepared. Definitely not months or anything.
So if we said in the last 3 years, you've spent a month total in the United States, that would be about fair? Maybe a month and a half?
Yeah. I would say that's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I have a house and everything there.
Okay, that's my next question. If I were to ask you, like, I'm worried about them being concerned about your domicile. They get to this point where they say, well, why should we give Frank's wife a visa if Frank doesn't even live there? Right? So tell me about, have they asked about domicile at all? Have they asked about your continuing connections to be present in the United States?
Yeah. So, I have a home and everything. And I believe that's what was asked. They said, like, well, have you resigned from your position? Yes, I resigned from my position here. Have you taken up a position there? Yes, inside our city.
Who asked you that, and how did they ask that?
They asked my wife during her first interview,
Okay.
and so I submitted all proof or documentation that that's actually what.
So
that's what.
She's actually had 2 interviews.
No, her second interview is supposed to be coming in about 2 weeks.
Okay. What happened at the first interview?
The first interview, they gave her a 221G because of proof of domicile. They just needed to see more proof of domicile.
So I was right. Domicile is an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, but what actually that's a conclusion as to what she received. What actually happened at the interview? Like what did they
basically, yeah, it was refused. Just like you said, they gave back the passport and everything, and then they mailed us this sheet.
Time out.
Yeah.
She goes to the embassy. She waits for her turn. She gets called up to the window. What was said?
Well, I was on the outside of the U.S. embassy.
I'm sure you asked her.
Yeah. I mean, just based on what she said, it was just like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and they went down everything on the list. And when it got to domicile, they said, "So when are you planning on? Is your husband there now, or is he here with you?" She said, "Well, he's here with us right now. He's waiting. He's going to be flying back with us." And they said, "Well, we just need to see more proof of domicile,
and
address."
When was that interview?
That was in 2023, November.
And what evidence of domicile did you provide?
I went back home. I got my voter's registration. I made sure that my driver's license address was up to date. I got my banking statements. I made sure that this time I had my phone bill, and also my job offer inside the city as well.
Okay. And did my office file a mandamus, or did somebody else?
It was another law firm.
Okay. So I think the fact that her interview has been scheduled again is a good sign. I think she's probably just going to wrap up and you guys are coming.
Okay. Because if not, I was just like, well, maybe I need like a plan B or something like that. And that's, I saw your videos, and
yeah, I think you're good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your advice, and you're doing great things. And happy 4th of July.
See you, brother. Thank you, Frank. All right. The comments were catching what I was laying down. I don't know that Frank did. I hope he did. I hope he goes back and listens to this, because for everybody listening, that is an example of how not to answer questions. Very nice guy, well-intentioned. It's sort of one of those situations that you see from time to time where you feel like you have lots to say, but the person asking the questions doesn't necessarily want to hear that. And you need to practice listening and being quiet and answering the questions. Like, maybe we should just, I don't know if you guys ever seen this guy. He's sort of an asshole. His name is Jim Rome, not Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is dead, and he's a great guy. Jim Rome is this sports commentator. He famously got in a fight with a quarterback named Jim Everett. But anyway, on the Jim Rohn show, you have to be ready. When you come on the show, you get 60 seconds to say your piece, and there's a format to it. And I just think, I don't know what's going on with me right now, but I'm in this listening stage, and I'm jumping on people for saying stuff. So I think it's because I've done the show so many days in a row that I'm sort of just highly attuned to listening to what people are saying. And plus, I'm sort of relaxing here in Colorado. But man, you guys got to get better at answering questions. You got it, Frank. No problem. You gotta get better at answering questions, and you gotta let the person asking the questions direct the conversation. That was a great call. Not so much because it was anything earth-shattering, but it was a great call because sometimes you're your own worst enemy, right? Right. So Robert Padilla remembers the jungle. Well, you're a West Coast guy. And so anyway, this guy, Jim Rohn, had a show. He still has a show, I think, Robert. He's a total jerk. Total jerk. I'm just bringing up the point of you call that show. Because I do the same thing in every call. Every call, tell me where you came from. What kind of a visa did you have? Did you leave on time? What issues have you had? Why didn't you leave on time? Have you ever claimed to be a citizen? What's your problem now? What benefit do you want to get? I mean, it's almost always the same thing, right? So, people mostly are prepared to talk about that. And really, a couple things. One is the reason I started this show is because I wanted you guys to learn what it's like to talk to immigration attorneys who know what they're talking about. And there are people who watch this show who know as much or more than some people at our firm because they've been watching the show for so long. So you can learn a lot just by listening and contrasting or comparing how you do with other people. And I'm way beyond talking about Frank right now. I'm just talking in general that I think that where a lot of the value of the show comes from is you just sort of learn things, you learn how to explain, you learn how to listen. Listening is a lost art, I think. All right, let's go over to TikTok because Hina has been keeping track of the TikTok, and I got to move my phone. I got quite the setup here. All right, camera's moving over here for a little bit. All right. Patricia, will my joint sponsor income have to cover just me that I need it or have to cover my whole family? Patricia, it has to be everybody who's coming on your application. So everyone has to be counted as a household member. And you got to add like 6,000, 5,500 for each person. Hater, is there a pause on approving green cards for asylees? I believe that there is. Any ETA to lift it? I don't know. Was thinking about this today on my drive to softball. How can I adjust my home rule for J1 after I return back to my home country? Ian, that's a good question. I need to actually know that. So if you email me and ask me that, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, I will teach myself that answer, make a video on it, and send you the answer. That's a new development in the J1 world, and I haven't dug into it just because we've been so busy. Nayamaya, can I renew my passport from my home country when I have a pending asylum case? You should not do that. That's availing yourself of the benefits of citizenship from that country, and it's contrary to your asylum case. Can I still get my citizenship if I have a 290 felony? I don't know what a 290 felony is. Remember, there are 50 states, and all 50 states name and number their crimes differently, so I don't know if you can or not. Sandy Wade, I have a DUI expunged in 2019. Can I get it vacated if the bill passes to be deported? You can try, but it can't be for immigration purposes. Check my YouTube channel for expungement. I have a whole video just on expungement and what it can and can't do. I withdrew my marriage-based petition because my spouse was abusive. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And we refused to attend the interview. Can I marry my new girlfriend for her to file for me? Perhaps, but you're going to have a high burden. They're going to think you're here out of status, desperate to get married, would marry anyone who would look your way, or that you would spend money to get them to sponsor you. So I'd be very worried about that case, Johnny. Approvable, but you're basically going to have to prove that both marriages were real, that you aren't an immigration fraudster, and that you're not just getting married to get an immigration benefit. So you probably need legal help with that. Ali or Ali. I never know, is it Ali or Ali? It depends, boy or girl. I don't know. LPR, F2B, child over 21. Okay, pending for 37 months and still saying in review. Is this normal? Sure. There's not going to be a visa available for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. We talked to someone the other day in the F2B category. Their case has been pending for 10 years. So USCIS is not in any hurry to adjudicate those cases because they know that there aren't any visas available. So don't sweat that at all. Nadia, my husband did a fake VAWA against me. What can I do? Well, you can fight back and notify USCIS that you didn't do that, but we don't help with that here. I'm sorry that's happening. Everybody stop spamming. When you spam in the TikTok, it makes it impossible for Hina to get the questions. Ask your question once. If you ask it twice, we're not going to post it. Rocks. When does unlawful presence start on duration of status I-94? When USCIS denies the benefits, well, if it's duration of status, that probably means you're on an F1 or a J1, and that means until your school terminates your CVIS record. Sorry, they're all spamming, Hina. Let's go back to the show. All right. Here we go. Lacey, hello. Hello, Lacey.
Hey, you can hear me?
Yes,
Okay. One love, Captain Jim.
of course. One love. Big ups, big ups.
Yes, no doubt. Thanks for charting us through this uncharted waters. I appreciate your honesty and what you're doing.
Sure.
Now, my question to you is, I don't want to stay in the U.S. no longer than I have to after I get married, and I don't want to really become a U.S. citizen. So talk to me.
Okay. So when did you enter the United States?
December?
December of 24?
Yesterday. Last week. Come on, man. Last year.
Okay. So December of 24, you entered the United States, and you've been here ever since.
Yes.
So you're beyond your 6 months.
Yes.
And have you already gotten married?
Yes.
And when you say you don't want to become a citizen, does that mean you don't want a green card either?
I see. That's where you come in. That's talk to me, man. I don't know.
Okay. So you need me to tell you how it all works, I guess is what you're saying.
Basically.
Okay. So you have a problem now that you're married to a U.S. citizen. And the problem is that you've been entering on a visit visa, and now you're married to a U.S. citizen. So they will believe, if I was at the office, I'd ring my bell right now. They believe that you want to become a U.S. citizen, even if you don't want to, right? So because you're now married to a U.S. citizen, that will make it more difficult for you to come to the United States on a visit visa to get it renewed, or even to enter as you come through customs, because they'll say, what are you doing here? And you'll say, I'm coming to see my husband. And they'll say, who's your husband? My husband's name is Jack, and he's a U.S. citizen. You're coming to live with your husband, a U.S. citizen? I don't think you're coming for a visit. I think you have immigrant intent. I'm going to take away your visit visa. That's most likely what's going to happen. Or it's going to expire, and the next time you apply for a visit visa, they'll say, who's your spouse? And you'll say Frank, and he's in the United States, or Jack, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Frank, but I think your fake husband is Jack. And so then you put on the DS-160 that you're married to a U.S. citizen, and they say, you have immigrant intent. You're going to get a green card. You're married to a U.S. citizen, and so therefore no visit visa for you. So I think that now that you're married to a U.S. citizen, what I'm saying is the days of you being able to come to the United States easy peasy on a visit visa are sort of over. Okay.
So that means I have to stay here until the green card is sorted.
So you don't have to. I mean, there's different things. You could do one of two things right now. Option A is you leave now before you have 6 months of unlawful presence. So sometime before the 1 year anniversary of your entry, and you don't want to cut it too close. And you want to leave sooner. If you're going to leave, you should leave sooner rather than later. Okay. So you can go leave, and your spouse, either before you leave or after you leave, can file an I-130 petition for you and say, hey, it's me, Jack. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm now married to Lacey. She just came to visit. We got married, and then she went back home, and now we're going to consular process. So it would take like 14 months for USCIS to approve that petition, and then it would go to the National Visa Center, and then it would wait for an interview in Jamaica.
No, because you're saying that once I'm married and I come back, they're not going to give me a U.S. Visit visa. That don't sound right at all.
Well, they assume that everybody who comes to the United States is lying to them, and everybody who comes to the United States wants to get a green card. So the system is frankly not built for people like you who want to be married and want to be able to visit with their spouse and have their spouse visit with them in Jamaica. But, all it takes is one asshole CBP official in Miami or New Orleans or whatever to not let you into the United States, and then you're in trouble, right? So the other option, not consular processing, would be you could, now that you're married, you could file an I-130 petition, and you could file for adjustment of status, and you could stay here until, as you said, that gets sorted. Now, a lot of those cases are actually going pretty quickly, right? Okay. So I would probably say don't even bother applying for the travel document, because you'll probably get your green card beforehand. Now, I don't know how long you two have been together, and I don't know what kind of marriage evidence you have, but one of the things they're doing now is they're taking cases like yours where somebody overstayed a visa a little bit, got married, and then applied right away, and then trying to screw you by scheduling you for an interview as quickly as possible. So you would want to have a ton of marriage evidence all set up before you file the green card case.
Okay, and that's all that I've been hearing you say, the taxes, the pictures, not so much the pictures, but living together and insurance and yada, 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 all that.
Yeah. How long have you guys been together?
On my visits, I come visit and I meet up, then I come back, I go. But this time we done the thingy. We got married.
Yeah, you did the thing. Yes, exactly. So you just got to prove all that stuff up. He's got to add you to whatever documentation we can, which is going to be hard because you probably don't have a social security number. And
Nope.
so, if you get called in for an interview, you'll just deal with it. You're just going to have to prove out the relationship. And, if you want our help, we can help you. But if you are going to do it on your own, you're going to want to have a lot of marriage evidence.
No. I'll be calling you. I will be calling you. You get the job done.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, mate. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Ta-ta.
You too. Okay. Bye-bye. Oh, she had all the good sayings. Ta-ta, sorted. I love sorted. And another thing I love is mates instead of friends. I love that. Oh, Nurse Laura's here? Oh, I didn't know that. I can't really see the comments because I got my phone over here for TikTok. Hina, can you let a couple more people in from the green room? I'm going to go to R. Orteza. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for asking. And thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. So I'm going to get right down to it. I have a question about denaturalization. So is getting a conviction via court-martial be grounds for denaturalization and maybe deportation for a U.S. service member who is a naturalized U.S. citizen? As a background, the service member obtained his immigrant visa in 2010 via family petition and eventually getting a green card, enlisted in the service and obtained citizenship during basic military training in 2014. The conviction happened in 2024.
And was the conviction for any behavior that was happening in 2014?
No.
It was all for recent 2024 activities.
The statute of limitations reached back to 2019.
Okay. What was the crime?
It's fraud.
Fraud. Well, fraud's not good. But so I do believe, I don't know for sure, I do believe that there are special rules about people that naturalize during military service that makes it a little bit easier to denaturalize people. I don't know that for sure. I've only had 2 denaturalization cases in my whole career, and they didn't involve military stuff. There might be a special rule for them. I don't think that there is. But generally, if you naturalize in 2014 and you commit crimes in 2019 through 2024, you should be fine and not be subject to denaturalization. They can't denaturalize you for crimes that occur after you denaturalize. They can denaturalize you for crimes that occurred before or during the naturalization process. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
That's where I talked about this yesterday, where there's that question on the, you might not know this, there's that question on the N400. Have you ever committed a crime or offense for which you've not been arrested? Obviously most people say no, and so in your friend's situation, they would have said no, and that was true. But if they had been involved in criminal behavior in 2010 and naturalized in 2014 and marked no, I haven't committed a crime or offense for which I've not been arrested, then they would have made a material misrepresentation at their naturalization interview. And if the officer had known about the criminal activity when the person was going through the naturalization process, then that person would not have become a citizen. And that's the approach to denaturalization, if that makes sense.
Got it. Understood. Can I ask another question, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So a cousin's wife, she has a valid green card. However, the last time she was in the United States was in 2019 and was unable to get back because of the global travel restrictions. In 2022, she applied for a re-entry permit at the U.S. Embassy overseas after being outside of the U.S. for more than a year. It was denied. The husband, my cousin, and all their kids are U.S. citizens, and right now they're living outside of the United States. What are her options at this point?
Does she have a physical green card?
She has a green card, and it's still valid.
I would try to come back. if she's, I mean, I might not bring my whole family with me, but I would try to come back knowing that I might get refused and sent back. But if she can physically get back into the United States, that's going to be her best bet. Otherwise, she has to surrender the green card and then have the husband as a U.S. citizen sponsor her to get a new green card and start over.
Okay, got it. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. This is the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm an immigration attorney practicing law throughout the United States, out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. I will be here for the next hour, trying to do as much as I can to answer your questions. Tomorrow's show will be at 12:30 p.m. Central, same bat time, same bat channel, or a little earlier, I guess, but same channel. We'll be on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok. And tomorrow I'll be back at the house, so I'll do TikTok. Will be easier. Also, tomorrow I'll show you video. We went inner tubing on the Boulder Creek yesterday, so there's some fun video of me going down the water and little bitty rapids in the inner tube. We had a lot of fun, but I got thrown out of the inner tube twice, and so I am really beat up today. I got bruises and I got a bloody fingernail, and it was a lot of fun though. We had so much fun. Just for the record, I'm the oldest, but I was the bravest. I did the most, and it was quite fun. Noor and the kids and Amani, we all had a really good time. It's really fun. So if you come to Colorado, Boulder in particular, inner tube, if you don't want a whitewater raft, inner tubing is sort of a fun interim step. But I'll tell you, there's like nobody watching you, and you're sort of on your own. So it was sort of crazy. All right, donuts and coffee. Hello.
Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Pretty good. We appreciate your show. It's amazing, and I'm sure you're helping a lot of people.
I hope so.
Yes, you are.
Go for it.
I'm actually from Lebanon. I went to the embassy. I got a B1, B2 visa, and I visited here. I came. My parents live here. My brothers are U.S. citizen. My mother is U.S. citizen, and my father too. I have family here. So on my next visit, I was coming in at the border. That was in 2019. I got my B1, B2 visa revoked, and they asked me some question. One of them, if I fear to go back. I answered in affirm. I was detained. Then I went to, as you know, to the detention place. I
Why did they
stayed there
revoke?
6 months.
Why did they revoke your visa?
They say that I was coming to stay here,
How long had it been since you left?
like maybe 6, 7 months, maybe 8, 9 months, 9 months.
You had a multiple entry visa,
Yes.
and like, so you get off the plane, you start to go through customs, and what happened? Like, how'd the conversation go?
Oh, she told me like when you are planning to leave. The issue was that my return ticket was like 6 months probably. That's why, and they asked me if I have any applicant applied for me. Like my mom, she applied my I-130, already. So I think that was the issue.
Yeah. So they said you had immigrant intent, so they revoked your visa.
Yes, sir.
And then why did you fear going back to Lebanon?
Yeah. So after that, I applied for asylum.
Why did you fear going back to Lebanon?
I had a lot of casualties there, the political wise.
Okay. All right.
So
So
I
they put
applied
you
for
in detention. You're in detention for 6 months. Then what?
I applied for asylum there.
Yep.
I went out on Rodriguez bond.
Okay.
After I went out of Rodriguez bond, the judge ordered removal. He said that there is no, I can go live somewhere else in Lebanon.
Okay.
So after that, I appealed to the BIA. And while waiting for the BIA, like after 3 years, I got married to a U.S. citizen, and I have a baby with her now.
Okay.
She applied for my I-130, I-485.
Wait,
and
time out.
work permit.
Time out. When did you get married?
I get married in 2000. Sorry?
Roughly, what month and year did you get married?
I got married in 11/26/2022.
Okay. And she filed. Did you file the I-130 and the 45 with USCIS
Yes, I did.
with a lawyer?
Because no, without a lawyer.
Okay,
I was told that
USCIS.
I was an arriving alien. So I mentioned all that in a paper, that arriving alien, you guys have jurisdiction on my case.
Okay.
And I
All right.
told them that I was admitted before to the US, like on a
Uh-huh.
previous entry. And I have a picture of the passport that I was admitted before.
Okay.
So I got my I-130 approved on the spot while we were there.
So you
The
had an
officer
interview.
told me that the I-485, yeah, I went to an interview, me and my wife.
Okay.
We got the I-130 bona fide marriage approved. The adjustment of status, he told me that he won't be able to make a decision until he will have to give it to someone upper than him, like the legal team.
Right.
And it's been like maybe 4 months waiting for that.
But you have a removal order.
Yes.
It's still in. You have to deal with that removal order. The officer will not, or cannot, or both approve your green card with a removal order. They will not do that.
They won't do that.
No. Even if you're an arriving alien, you have a removal order.
Mm-hmm.
And
So do you recommend?
let me say something. And
Yeah.
again, this is a complicated area of the law, and I hope I don't misstate it. Okay.
Mhm.
You very well indeed could be an arriving alien, right?
Yeah.
And you have a deportation order. So people who come as arriving aliens can have USCIS adjudicate their 45. My understanding, though, is once you have a removal order, they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anything's going to happen at USCIS unless and until you hire an attorney to try to, and it's going to be very hard under Trump,
Mm-hmm.
to, I mean, what you should have done is filed the I-130. When did they approve the I-130?
4 months ago.
So before Trump or after Trump?
Was Trump.
Okay.
In
So
the first days of Trump.
You're going to have to try to get them to reopen that case, and they're going to fight you on that probably. But really, nothing's going to happen. Well, here's another question: Why haven't you been deported? Do they have your passport?
Yeah, they do have my passport.
Yeah, so they could
Because
try to.
I'm still pending with the BIA.
Oh, it's still pending. I thought it was all
Yeah,
over.
still pending.
Oh,
no, still
okay.
pending.
You need to move really quickly because they could deny that appeal and then execute the removal order. So you got to try to. You should have started as soon as the I-130 got approved, if not sooner, to try to get that set aside.
I have one more thing. Lebanon is still under DED, and I applied for TPS too, because the BIA sent me a notice for TPS, like I could apply. So
but
I did that online.
You know that's going away.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on TPS when you have a deportation order. Especially with Trump, they're canceling TPS for every country they can.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you. So the best thing to do is to finish that removal.
You got to get a deportation order. It's not finish it. It's reopen it. You got to get going. BIA could deny your case tomorrow.
All righty.
All right. Thanks. All right. Let's go to Advik. Hello.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
Very good. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
And thank you for what you're doing to the immigrant community.
My pleasure. Go ahead. I only got a minute. You're my last caller. Go ahead.
Thank you. So one quick question. So I became citizen on 2023, and then my wife came to US on 2022.
Okay.
So it's already been more than 3 years that she's here, but it's not been 3 years that I'm a citizen. So can we apply for N400 for her?
So in order to apply under the 3-year rule, 2 things have to be true, okay?
Okay.
The first thing that has to be true is you have to have celebrated your 3rd wedding anniversary. So you have to be married for 3 full years, okay?
Okay, that's done.
And the other one is you have to have been married to a U.S. citizen for 3 years.
So meaning I should be citizen for more than 3 years, right?
That's right. So once you become a citizen for 3 years, then at that point she can apply, because then you'll have been a citizen for 3 years, she'll have been married to a citizen for 3 years, and she'll have had her green card for 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. One more quick question.
Sure, buddy.
Yeah. So when I came as a refugee, and I'm a citizen now.
It's great.
So thank you. And then did they call it DSS over there? So I think it's DS 260. So when they did that, it was like a long time ago. And then after like maybe 6 months after that, I came, but I got married in between. So I didn't tell anybody. And when I came here, so applied for my process, and then we got she came here. She's here now. She has a green card. So will that be an issue when she's naturalizing?
My brother, you throw that out. You said, "Oh, I have one last question." You're throwing me a curveball now. So you're telling me that when you came as a refugee, you told them that you were single?
Yeah, because I mean, like, because we do that. I mean, the process takes a long time, right? So the DS 260, I believe, was done like maybe 9 months, 6 to 9 months ago, and then I got married like 2-3 months ago. I mean, before I came here. Yes.
Right. Okay, so timeline is you apply to come as a refugee, you have your interview, and then you get married?
No, I mean, my interview was done. Everything was done. I was just everything was done. I was just waiting for my flight, or yeah.
And then you got married.
Yes.
And then so then when she came, how did she come to the United States?
I applied for her. I applied asylum first. It took a long time, and then when I became a green card holder, I applied through that, and then she came. She has a green card now. Yeah, for more than 3 years.
When you applied for her, did you list your date of marriage as the real date of marriage?
Yes, I did. And then as soon as I came here, I have never lied or misinterpreted this anyway. But my question is like, I didn't have the time, or I didn't, because the interview was done, the DS 260 was done beforehand. So yeah, I haven't mentioned that.
So my answer to the question is this: yes, indeed, this could mess up your citizenship. I don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that in other visa categories, that if you get married and don't disclose it, even though you already had your interview and everything, they can conclude that you shouldn't have been able to come as a refugee if you were married. I don't know that that's true, but I'm saying that you are right to ask the question. And if you're going to proceed with naturalization, you should pay your attorney extra to research whether or not that keeps you from getting your. That's not something I can tell you just off the top of my head. That's something that needs to be researched and briefed before you go to your interview, or before you even file.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Advik. See you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Smart thinking, going back all the way to the original, because that's what they're doing. They're starting with everybody, and they're looking at how did you originally come. That's a huge, big issue right now. All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. Tomorrow, the last show before the 4th of July break. Thanks, everybody, for all the hearts and likes and everything else on TikTok. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star review at reviewhackinglaw.com. If you want to get on the show tomorrow and want to get it in the green room early, text the word SHOW, SHOW, to 314. Look at Hina, 314-470-3300. Big ups to all the Yardies. We had a lot of Yardies today. I think even Phoenix and Donna are here. I hope everybody's well. Thanks for all of our good friends who've been supporting the show for a very long time. And go Top Gun. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.